obviously, Candace Owens was let go from the Daily Wire last week, and that was the talk of much of the online and even some broadcast media. Ben Shapiro has yet to really open his mouth about it. And so he appeared on the Piers Morgan show, and Piers Morgan shockingly brought this up. And Ben Shapiro seemed like he didn't really want to talk about it. I can't imagine he didn't anticipate this coming up, since that had to be one of the many reasons why he was booked there. But here is Ben Shapiro tight-lipped on the question of why Candace Owens was canceled by the Free Speech Daily Wire.
The consequences of this war has been a lot of very high passions on both sides, a lot of angry disagreements. You and your company have been at the center of a very high-profile one at the moment with Candace Owens, who's now left Daily Wire. Was she fired, or did she leave of her own volition?
I'm not going to speak to this topic, Piers.
At all?
At all.
You can't give me any insight into why she departed?
No hints, no nothing. I'm not going to speak to this.
Can I ask why?
A likable guy, this guy.
I mean, you can ask.
No, I'm not. Can I ask why you don't want to say anything?
Again, you can ask.
I mean, not only were you called out for a certain hypocrisy from, canning her in the first place for having a difference of opinion on this war, but another grievance of the anti-cancel culture people and the anti-censorship people is that there's often no responsibility taken on the part of the people who censor. They are completely unaccountable to the users, unaccountable to those who they censor. They are very often tight-lipped about why and what exactly you said that was wrong, right? There's a certain vagueness about this. And so this kind of feeds into that as well. As he mentions later in this, which we'll play, the Daily Wire is a publisher, not a platform. That's fair enough. You're under no obligation to keep someone on if they violate your editorial standards to that degree. But this is one of many issues. Certainly you hired Candace Owens for her talent and her agreement with you in most cases. So the idea that you wouldn't allow for any dissent on this issue, you didn't expect for a black Christian woman to push back on Israel, like just the lack of anticipation there.
Well,
is kind of shocking.
There's good reason to believe that because, they're friendly with the kinds of Christians who think the Jews need to be there as Jesus bait.
Right.
For the second coming. So there's reason to believe a black Christian woman might also be a rabid Zionist, but they were disappointed in this case. They're not a network. I don't know if there's a way of tracking performance that way. I would anticipate Daily Wire is seeing a mass cancellation in memberships in the wake of this. Because there are, I believe, a lot of good faith conservatives who actually believe in the principle of freedom of speech and actually are truly anti-canceling people. So I think the smarter Daily Wire subscribers will have been canceling their memberships in protest. I don't know if you'll ever be able to find that out, though. I don't know if there's a means outside of them telling you of tracking that.
Well, yeah,
because are they publicly traded?
I don't.
If they're
believe
publicly
so.
traded, they would have to reveal those numbers.
I don't believe so. But that is all the more reason to just let her speak. Let her say her point of view. Like,
Sure,
why do you need
course.
ideological lockstep? Like,
Of
she's
course.
not. It's not like you're regularly co-hosting a show with her, where this is a constant bone of contention, and every panel ends up a fight. Then you could say, okay, this is interfering with the actual programming. It's not. She's got her show. You got yours. She could say what she wants. You could say what you want.
And what better
why can't
way
you
to
just leave it at that?
demonstrate that you're better than the libs?
Right. Exactly. But here he goes.
I'm only curious because I know what a staunch defender of free speech you are, and it would surprise me if it had been someone's opinions that would make you want to part company with them. However,
well, he's a staunch defender of Israel, not a staunch defender of free speech.
I mean, suffice it to say, the only thing I will say is what I've said all along with regard to Candace or with regard to any of our other hosts. I am not in hiring and firing position with the Daily Wire. I'm a co-founder of the Daily Wire. I'm a co-owner of the Daily Wire. I'm not actually in management. Jeremy Boring and Caleb Robinson are in management positions with regard to Candace or anyone else. And as far as the free speech situation, what I will say is that no company has the obligation to literally pay anyone. The Daily Wire is a publisher. It is not a platform. I've never called for Candace or anyone else for that matter to be banned from YouTube, to be banned from X, to be banned from any platform. That's a different story, obviously, when it comes to any publisher. Any publisher gets to make decisions about what it wishes to purvey and not.
I mean, I'm just not going to labour this, but one more point I would make is it's been reported extensively that the reason for her departure was because her comments have been perceived by people at the Daily Wire as anti-Semitic.
Again, I'm not going to comment on this, Piers.
See, so first he kind of says, I'm not involved in firing and hiring, as if Ben Shapiro has no say in who's on the air at the Daily Wire and who's not.
Yeah,
the second point,
the founder of the company, has no influence.
Yeah, no influence. So it's not on me. That was all Jeremy's call. The fact that they are a publisher and not a platform, like I said, true, fair enough. But that last question there, well, was it her stance on the war or was it anti-Semitism? This is why I said, this cuts a lot deeper and they are on very thin ice. We played a video of the guy saying, I was born Jewish. I converted to Christianity. Most Christians have embraced me except the Christ is King people. Like, there's clearly a deeper rift there that he's too much of a coward to get into.
Christ is king. I start having race memory of being dragged into the town square by the villagers with the pitchforks, the tar, the whole thing. Just don't say Christ the king. Say Christ.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't say Christ.
You can't say Christ. That's not enough. Praise
I say
Jesus
it all the
Christ.
time. Jesus Christ, this soup is cold.
Yeah, right. You got to say Christ. I don't say Christ the King. It's cold. It's hot in here.
That's it.
Christ the King. It's drafty at this table. Right.
Little adjustment. Make your Jesus bait friends happy.
Yeah. I've never seen Ben Shapiro say this, but I watched Greenwald do a segment on this, and apparently Shapiro has said that the reason he lives in America and not Israel is because he feels like he could do more for Israel living here than there. So this is a very committed Zionist, and that is so obviously what the rift was. Now, they want to blame it on anti-Semitism. Well, that's Zionism 101. Blame all critics of Israel blame all criticism of Israel, rather, on anti-Semitism. But, the fact that he just doesn't want to talk about this, doesn't want to take ownership of this after this whole thing blew up. This is months coming. I mean, he's already on the record saying her behavior was disgraceful.
Yep.
So why so evasive? Like, did you not expect to be asked about this? Take some responsibility this way, because like I said earlier, the thing that's one of the worst things about modern censorship in the internet era is the vagueness of it, the arbitrariness of it, if you will. I don't know if that's a word, but I don't know what the noun would be for that. So
arbitrary nature, I think.
The arbitrary nature of it. Thank you. Not the arbitrariness, the arbitrary nature of it. That's one of the things that makes it so dangerous, because you don't know where that line is. So why don't you just say her stance on this war conflicted with the editorial bent of our publication, and so we felt we had to part ways. Everybody knows that's what happened. So why do you have to dodge it? I mean, you're the face of the company. If your underlings can opine on it, why can't you? Well,
okay, yes, you're a publisher. Sure, you're within your rights. Your brand is in part and almost principally built around a rejection of the libs and their cancel culture, right? It's the whole idea. You started a children's thing. You snatched up Gina Carano when Disney fired her and built a movie around her. Your whole brand is a repudiation of canceling people, of taking away people's right to speak. Now, what you've revealed here is you're actually not against cancel culture. You just want your own version of cancel culture, which this is why people like myself, like Matt Taibbi, people who grew up in a world where the Republicans were the censors, have said we're living in upside down land, right? Because this is really the Daily Wire revealing themselves to be the same conservatives we always had. You're not against cancellation. You're against the cancellation of people you agree with. You're perfectly happy, as the right wing always has been, to cancel people whose voices you don't approve of. So you're not repudiating anything. It's a sectarian battle. It's not a battle in principle as you've been presenting it as.
Please clap.